Welcome to Orange Grove 55.
About how like you've never been to a Disney park before. You've only been to Universal.
Yeah. I would love to go to a Disney park. Now, before Universal, wait, do you want to talk about Disney or Universal first right now? Which one do we want to go into?
Wherever you want to take it. Like whatever
okay. So before Universal, the biggest theme park I'd ever been to was a Six Flags. Okay. So it was like magical for me to go to Universal. Like I loved it so much, and it was this year too. It was in January that I went. It was amazing. It was just like I don't even know how to explain it. When I first got there, I was like a toddler just running like, let's go there, let's go there, let's go there. It was so great. 2 days. I went for 2 days, and it still wasn't enough. I got to go on basically all the rides. Didn't do the water park, but it was just like this. Have you guys ever been to Universal? Any of you, the Florida one?
I literally just came back. I had my Universal cherry pop, so to speak, because it was my first time actually being at a Universal. So I'm actually opposite to you. You've never been to a Disney park. This was my first time at Universal.
Yeah, it's great. Like it's the City Walk. You could spend a day just at City Walk at Universal easily. So, but yeah, it, like I said, magical is the only way I could describe it. Like I feel like I had never been to a theme park after that. I was like, all the other stuff that doesn't even count.
It's interesting.
No shade on Six Flags. No shade. I mean, you guys know. You guys.
Hey, we know. It's interesting because OG and I we have frequented Universal Studios Hollywood out here in California, which has some of the same attractions. Mm-hmm. We'd love to go out in Florida someday, but what's interesting is what I mean. Was there something that drew you to Universal over Disney at that particular time? Was it kind of happenstance? What happened there?
Well, I did actually have the choice. I actually was gonna do both, but I had limited time there. I wasn't even there for a week, and I'm like, okay, so I could do 2 days at Universal or 1 day at Universal and 1 day at Disney. But I'm like, I feel like I need at least 3 days at Disney and 2 days at Universal. So I was juggling doing both, and I just decided to do Universal. I was staying at one of the Universal hotels, like it's the Surfside and Dockside Inn, if you guys have heard about them, which I highly recommend if you go there. They're cheap and they're nice. So I'm like, you know what, if I'm going to stay there, it's by Universal. I'm just going to do 2 days at Universal, get a fast pass for the 1 day. And so that was what I wanted to do both, but I'm like, I can't, like, I need to be able to experience both of them without rushing. So that's where that came. Yeah.
No, absolutely. You want to be able to dive in and like really just kind of soak it all in. And then you can always come back later and do Disney World and,
Exactly. That's the plan next year, hopefully. Hoping.
Very cool. Now, was there a reason you, outside of maybe just lodging, was there a reason that you chose Universal over Disney? Was there like, hey, you know what, maybe some of their IP or some of their things that they have in their park maybe appeal to you a little bit more?
Yeah, so I'm a big Spider-Man fan. The Spider-Man ride there is one of my favorite. The Velocicoaster is number one. I know everyone says that, but man, was that ride cool. But that and like Spider-Man, it is. Yeah, the IPs. I wanted to go on the ET ride. I really wish they still had the Back to the Future ride. I would have loved to go on that. Jaws, all the classic stuff would have been great. But yeah, it was the IPs. That's what sold me over Disney. And the price was like a tiny bit less, not much, but I'm like, I wasn't really penny pinching. It was a vacation, but it was the IPs. Like I said, the Spider-Man ride was so cool. I don't know if you guys have ever been on it. I don't know if they have that at Hollywood's the one.
That was actually my first. That was actually my first ride at Universal.
Yeah, isn't it cool? The queue line's even cool. The Daily Bugle stuff, like that was awesome.
And they actually have a ride like that where they had Steven Spielberg actually come onto the project and help out with the camera shots and everything with the CinemaScope to it that they actually had Steven Spielberg.
Was it E.T. that he worked on? Right? I think so.
He actually,
one of them, maybe probably more than one.
He helped with the construction of many of the attractions over there at Universal Studios Florida, to the point where I think they use so many of his IP and franchises that I think it gets like a ridiculous, like I think 10% of the gate or something like that.
Oh,
it's like a ridiculous deal for him,
and he deserves every penny. I mean,
I'm a big Steven Spielberg fan. Jurassic Park, all that. Like that was also a big thing that sold me. I'm like, they have that whole Jurassic Park area. Yeah.
I agree with you. I wish that they could have added Harry Potter, but not take out Jaws.
I know. Yeah, that would have been awesome. I'm not like I don't dislike Harry Potter, but I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. I like it, I know about it, but I'm not huge on it. But the Harry Potter world land there, I forget what's it called. It's gorgeous. They did such a good job with it.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Even out here in Hollywood.
They have one in Hollywood too. Yeah, it is. Like I said, I'm not even a big fan, so I know why it's overflowing all the time because people love Harry Potter. But it was, I went on. I didn't get to. That's the one ride I wanted to go on that I couldn't. Hagrid's motorbike. It was down. They were working on it both days. I was like, no. Yeah. Oh. But I did go on the one inside the castle, like where it's like 3D. That one I was actually laughing because it was pretty funny. I wasn't ready for it. But it was
pretty intense.
Yeah, well, it is.
It is. I was surprised at how intense it was actually when I went on that. I was like, wow, Yeah. And I'm actually kind of claustrophobic. So when I was in there, I was like, oh man.
Yeah, that's tight squeeze. Yeah.
I love that attraction though. It's really, really cool how they kind of integrate the physical sets and the screens and all that. An incredible attraction.
Yeah, the interaction was great. Like it was just, you felt like they were there talking to you. They did a really good job. I mean, all the rides, like I said, the Spider-Man one, I knew I was going to like it because I'm a Spider-Man nerd, but I was like, this is like, we're in the comic right now. This is cool.
That's awesome.
It's so great.
Should we tell her about the Spider-Man ride at California?
No. Oh, gosh.
Is it not the same one?
I would say that if you had to go on a Spider-Man attraction, I would have said start with Web Slingers first.
Yeah.
And then do the one at Universal because you kind of want to go low than high.
So what happened is kind of an interesting thing. So Universal Studios Florida got the Marvel rights first, the exclusive Marvel rights to install Marvel attractions at their Universal parks within like 250 miles of the property, right? So Disney cannot use their own properties, Marvel at their parks in Florida. So in California, we have a kind of a Marvel, kind of Avengers campus, right?
Yeah.
With some Marvel attractions, but at Walt Disney World, they can't use them almost at all, except for like Guardians of the Galaxy, which they just opened. But that's kind of caused some confusion and. So Spider-Man at Universal is like awesome. Now we have a version, we have a Spider-Man attraction over here in California at Disney California Adventures, not even in Universal. Not so good.
No,
not great. Trust me, you went on the right one. I'll just put it that way.
It was a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. Like when everyone asks, I say yes. Velocicoaster was great, but the Spider-Man.
Yeah, you could skip the gigantic toaster oven on a roller skate. Is
that what it is?
It kind of It's kind of like it's weird. Like we get like the Spider-Man ride here in California Adventure is like an interactive thing. So you kind of roll through like different sets, and it like you can shoot web at like various targets and things like that, right? So it's like it's part physical, part screen based, kind of like the Universal ride, but it's interactive. So when you're in your vehicle, you can shoot web at various things, which is pretty cool. I mean, on paper, cool. It sounds really dope. Actually, in execution, it's not.
It doesn't have like the enhanced motion vehicle that you actually sit in that kind of like moves and motions with whatever's going on the screen and so forth. So it's like it's almost like a passive attraction, even though it's interactive. In that way, it's not very active. It's one of the
really spectacular, spared no expense.
Yeah, Universal, that's what they did. Disney kind of held back a little bit, which was unfortunate. And as we were talking about it, it's really the IP, right? It's really like, why go with Spider-Man? Because it sets a certain expectation in your mind when you go there, especially with the Universal attraction already like operating every day, right? So people, when they go over, it's like, oh, I'm going to get something similar to that in quality and theme and all that kind of stuff. That's not what you get. So I would have preferred them to go with, I don't know, like a smaller character, maybe like Ant-Man or something.
No pun intended with smaller characters.
Yeah, smaller I know. But, just something that's just like, that doesn't have that same kind of like intensity when you think about it, when that expectation level, right? So
But if you do end up going out to Avengers Campus and you're a Spider-Man junkie, you would love the Spider-Man Stuntronic.
Oh yeah,
That
100%.
That's really
but
cool.
I would love to go to Avengers Campus. I've heard because you guys know I've never been to either Disney parks, but people that are big fans that have been to both, they wish that the Star Wars was like the Avengers Campus. Like they said, the Avengers Campus was done very well, but not the Star Wars one, not so much. I said, I can't judge. I've seen videos and stuff, but that does really stink. I wish that they could have an Avengers Campus at Disney World. That would be awesome.
That would be really cool. The cool thing about Avengers Campus, Amanda, is that like they are so synergistic. Like when like the Disney Plus shows were coming out, like every single version of Moon Knight or Loki or whatever would show up in Avengers Campus the week that episode premiered.
That's awesome. That's what they should have been doing with Star Wars. They don't have any of the original characters. Like, that doesn't make sense. I know that's a whole other can of worms, but yeah, I've never been there, and it still makes me upset when I see videos. I'm just like, can we at least get an R2D2 rolling around, like something?
Oh, don't even worry, Amanda. You know, we're in it.
Hold on to your butts.
Like we're in it. Like this is the can of worms we're gonna pop because I mean, especially from somebody who might not have been to these parks, might be expecting that. That's definitely like what we kind of like, because we've made the argument before as like big theme park fans, Disneyland fans, like, hey, we want to see these characters. We want to see, Leia. We want to see Han Solo. We want to see Luke Skywalker, all these kind of things. But the Imagineers and people who are kind of, or Lucasfilm, they're holding that back. And it's like, why? Like, I think
I don't understand.
Not only us fans want it, but I think the general audience would too. And I think that's kind of, you're speaking to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they would. I don't get it. It would just make them it would bring more people. Because even new fans, like I have a friend who just started watching Star Wars. She was never into it. And she's like, she said to me, she's like, I don't really, she's like, no offense, because she knows I really like Star Wars. And I never really talked to her about it. She's like, I don't really like the Disney Star Wars. And I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. You're not alone. And I'm not offended. I agree. Like, it's got its like K parts, but I'm on the classics. I like the originals and, that's where I stand. Like, I mean, I got Leia right there. I love the old school stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're 100%. Like, I don't understand why Disney can't like accommodate. Like, the thing with Star Wars is it's very generational, right? Like, it's an older franchise. Why not have a land that represents all the generations? Like, you can have the sequels in there. You can have Rey and Finn and all that. That's cool. But why not have a little bit of like the old school stuff, like Han, Leia? I don't understand why they can't mix that all in. It's Amanda, it's a massive land. It's like 15 acres. They can definitely fit it in there. I don't know why they don't. It's like money on the table. Yeah. It's so frustrating.
And it's not that Disney has. Oh, sorry, Amanda.
No, you're fine. I said it's not going to hurt them. It'll benefit them. That's all like 100%. Adding that. Yeah.
But it's like, it's not as if Disney never tackled anything like that before, because I said it once, I said it twice, and I'll say it again. They've done a thing called Star Wars Weekends, where they incorporated everybody. So it could be done.
I'm sure it was a massive success too.
Yeah, it was huge success. Now we did receive official word that we're going to get, I guess. Well, we already got Boba Fett here in California, and now we're going to get Mando and Grogu in our galaxies, but Florida won't. That's a whole can of worms, because Florida has this, the Star Cruiser Hotel, which is, they're probably saving the Grogu stuff for the $6,000 hotel.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's kind of like that's the weird thing. It's the same land, right? It's kind of almost an exact duplicate of what we have out in California, and yet they're not getting the same things that we are. And it's like, why again? I guess like OG alluded to, they had the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel where you can stay, and that interacts directly with the land. And so I think they want to keep that whole narrative cohesive, which is fine, I suppose. But it's one of those things. It's the place where Star Wars should live, and yet we're not getting all that Star Wars has to offer. And it's like,
not even half.
Put out $6,000 to be captured by Kylo Ren on a Star Cruiser, when you could just buy a theme park ticket, go into the theme park, and guess what? You get captured by Kylo Ren aboard a Star Cruiser. Oh, lo and behold.
It's a lot of Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
A lot of Kylo Ren.
Change the narrative a bit.
Change it up. Now, I want to ask you, Amanda, like, so you've only been to Universal and you had an amazing experience. Like, you've never been to Disney. Like, based on what you know, like, what would be what Disney parks are you looking forward to the most? Like, what's kind of on your radar in terms of like, oh, I want to go there.
I would like, I do. So Disney World will probably be first over Disneyland, but there's reasons why I really want to go to Disneyland too. Like, I want to do both. But because like Disney World, they have Epcot and all those nice festivals. Like, I want to go to Epcot really bad. I want to do the drinks around the world. Like, I want to do that so bad. They always have like the gardens. Like, I love Beauty and the Beast, and they had like this beautiful garden with the Beauty and the Beast. I was like, oh my God, it looks so good. I want to go so bad. Like I said, next year is hopefully going to be Disney. But now Disneyland, the reason why I would love to go to Disneyland is because Walt actually touched it. Like, he was there. He created it, and that's like a very magical thing. Even though, they're trying to kind of push him out at maybe, I don't know if that's the true, allegedly, what's going on isn't right.
And listen, folks, a person who's never been to a Disney park sees it.
What does that tell you?
Yeah, well, I know exactly. No, and Amanda, you're so right. Like, you're so right. Like, there is a different energy at Disneyland. There really is. Like, George, you've been to both, right? Like, it's
a completely different. Yeah, it's two different beasts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that says a lot. You'd think there'd be some similarities, but
and with the Walt thing, and there absolutely are similarities, especially between Magic Kingdom and Disneyland, which Magic Kingdom is kind of modeled on. But like, something about Disneyland, it's like Walt stepped in it, and you can feel it and you can see it. And it's the weirdest. It's like it's a completely different vibe because of that. And so there's that kind of innate charm that came from his input, especially coming from his time period, that just no other park has really. You can go to Disneyland Paris, you can go to Tokyo, you can go to Walt Disney World, and they're missing. They're always going to be missing that quality, and that's definitely the reason why Disneyland is worth checking out.
Yeah, I definitely want to. That it's on the list. Like I said, Disney World's probably going to be first sometime next year. I also plan on moving to Florida, hopefully sometime next year, so that'll make it a lot easier to go. But
nice.
Yes,
Look at you.
I'm trying to get out. I'm in New York State right now. I'm ready for warm weather. I George probably gets it. He's in Pennsylvania. He gets the same weather.
Yeah. Which lo and behold, that's my plan in the next few years to move down to Florida. So
yeah, it's not a bad plan.
But I will say that if you want to go to Epcot and do the drinking around the world, a little piece of advice: what I like to do is start out in Mexico and walk around, and then have someone carry you out from the UK.
All right, good advice. I'll make sure I do that.